Let's start with the third video in the process redesign lesson. Today we are going to talk about process mapping and the assist to be to do methodology. Okay. Let's start with the basics. What's a flow chart, which is the tool that we will use to map a process. A flowchart is a diagram that describes a process, system, or algorithm, and its purpose is to clearly define how a process works step by step and be able to communicate and share it and document and standardize projects, processes. Sorry. Okay, here we can see an example. In the next slides, we will focus on the different types of shape because each shape means a different operation inside the flow chart. But here we can see a customer purchase order and how it works from customer press the buy button, then it generates a sales order, and from it there is a decision. This shape means decision, and it's choosing between should we pick the product if we have a stock, or should we produce that item, which quantity should we produce, or do we order it to a provider, depending on the of if we manufacture it, distribute it, or just or we have stock or not. We will go to create big ticket. This shape means document generation, and then pick up items from current inventory, and from it box and package the items, create packing slip and invoice, again another document, and ship to customer. Okay. If we don't have that stock, we will produce that item and determine the quantity, create a work order to our factory, then assemble or manufacture items. It's related with receive items from the provider, okay, and then again box and package, create packing, and ship to customer. And if we don't produce it, that we are just buying the document, this item to a provider directly and selling, determine all the quantity, create purchase order, send it, and once receive items, it continues with the same steps. Okay. This is another example about a search bar in a website, for example, on how would work the algorithm. Start new search process at index to one. It's a variable, and set found variable to false. Okay, and here it says while found it's equal to false and not the end of the column or the end of the list, the file, it will continue checking if found equal to false and not an right. Okay, so if found equal to true, yes, item found, item not found. Okay, and it would continue looking for it until the item is equal to the search. Okay, and the location is equal to index, found equal true, and again we will repeat the process in this case. Okay, so which applications should we do we have for flowchart? We can write a program or algorithm and explain it to others before starting to code to validate the process. Then we can document processes, standardize processes, and also communicate processes to empower other people inside the organization or train them. And also we can identify bottleneck redundancies and necessary steps in a process in order to improve it. Here we are introducing a concept called the red dots, which are the inefficiencies. In the next slides, we will treat the red dots concept. Okay. There are several, I put here dozens of elements, but maybe there are hundreds of different elements that can be used in a flowchart. But in digital projects, the most common that you must know are those eight: the start or end of a process, then activity or stage of a different processes, which are the each step of task inside the process, then a decision or bifurcation into two different paths, and then a data input or output, generated or used document, a query, which is a query. It's like a call to a database to get some data, and also to save in databases. Okay. Then the flow lines, which means the direction from one step to the other one. And there is another figure which is called the connector, which it's connecting two different points in the process. But previously, to start process mapping using a flowchart tool or even drawing it by hand, it's important to previously take some considerations. Okay, so the first is to define what do we want to achieve with that process mapping and improvement. Then we should identify the different tasks inside that activity or process in chronological order, step by step. Then we would organize them by type and figures, such as processes, decisions, data, queries, inputs, outputs, etc. Then we would create the diagram, either by hand or using a specific or general purpose software. And then we would document it for better understanding or standardization. What happens if that process involves more than one person? In that case, we can add some titles of the job titles that are involved inside the process, and we can draw them both in a vertical or horizontal way, and putting the steps on the responsible employee inside the organization. Okay, here we can see some order validation to see if that customer has credit or if he has to do a bank transfer. Or here we are seeing another quotation process, and on the top we are seeing the different people who is involved in the process. Okay, there are several tools in the market to draw a flow chart. You can use, for example, I like to use draw.io, which now is called diagrams.net, and also Lucidchart. They are quite useful tools with a lot of templates and quite interesting user interface in order to drag and drop the different elements. Also, Miro it's quite interactive, and it's very easy to use. Then there is a more technical or professional tool from the Microsoft suite, which is called Visio. And then there are also options to add flowcharts to PowerPoint, or even in Word documents you can add some smart arts representing flowchart elements. And also there is Canva that has some templates about flowcharts, so you can use the one that you prefer. In my case, I used to write them by hand, so I can like check it and do some corrections, and then I move from hand to Lucidchart or Draw.io to standardize the process and share it and improve it continuously.